Question. When was the last time you did something just for you, for no particular purpose or outcome, no box being ticked off your to-do list, but for the simple reason that it feels good to you, and you did that without guilt? On today's show, I'm excited for you to meet my Insta pal, Denise Baka. Denise is an incredible feminine energy coach, and together we're talking all about that disconnected feeling and discontent that can really bubble up when we're not living with purpose and passion, and about the sense of lost identity that can also result from becoming a mother. I know I was definitely there. And how you can turn all of this around by reconnecting with yourself. Denise shares with us her journey through depression and into a really tumultuous time of spiritual awakening, which culminated in her finally seeking and receiving the support she needed, instead of, and this is going to resonate with some of us, right, always being that support to others. And in doing this, she discovered her purpose and consciously fell in love with herself in the process. Yay! Doesn't that sound so good? And if that weren't enough reason to keep listening, then I think that the promise of learning what on earth a conscious shower is going to be. Let's go meet Denise. You're listening to the Limitless Mother podcast. I'm your host, Corey Javid, money mindset expert, success coach, mother, tea drinker, energy obsessed manifester, afternoon bath lover, and thought leader in financial empowerment for mums. I know that we get to be successful because we are mothers, not in spite of it. And so around here, we do things differently. I've torn up the business rulebook and created a new paradigm for us, one in which we create results using energy instead of effort. I'm on a mission to help you ditch the old way of creating success. You know, the one where you work hard, hustle, and sacrifice, and instead teach you how to increase your impact and income without increasing your hours, and how to manifest your dreams. So, if you're a mother who's ready to learn how to elevate your energy to start making bank and start living your limitless life, this is your podcast, my love. And I'm your new biz bestie. Join me as we explore what's possible for us as mothers and business owners when we remove the Hello, limitless mothers. It's me, it's moi, your business bestie, Corey Javid from CoreyJavid.com. How are you doing, my loves? Thank you for so many of you sent me really beautiful messages about the bonus podcast episode last week. I knew that kind of sharing the fact that I'd hit that lockdown wall was going to be an important thing, just because like so many of us are in that space, or are taking our turns in feeling that way. And so I'm so glad that it connected with so many of you and just gave you that extra kind of layer of permission if you felt like you needed it, just to be feeling whatever it is that you're feeling right now. So love you guys. So anyway, we are back with another installment with Self-Love Month. And this is actually so perfect. So I have a guest on the show today, one of my Instagram pals, Denise Baka, and her and I have been friends online for quite some time now. You're going to absolutely love her. I say that about all of our guests, right? But it's because I only bring on guests that you're going to love, obviously, because I'm your business bestie. It's what I do for you. But yeah, the thing is we actually recorded this back in December, and for various joint reasons decided to sit on it for a little while. And it's perfect because she was like, I'm ready. I was like, I'm ready. And actually the timing could not be more perfect, because what we're talking about today, really, in a nutshell, is falling in love with yourself, and Denise's story and her techniques and tools in that. And like, what perfect timing to bring her episode to the show than in this self-love month. So good. So I'll give you just a bit of an update over here. What's been going on? Well, lots of you have been signing up for and loving my Biz Bestie voice memos. I am having such a blast recording these and feeling like just having that extra bit of connection with you. If you haven't checked them out, do CoreyJavid.com/bestie, BESTIE. They're literally small, off the cuff, totally unedited, unfiltered, unplanned, just voice memos from me, your business bestie, about all manner of topics. And it sparked some really interesting conversations off the back of them too. So I'm loving creating them. And I'm loving that so many of you are loving them. So all the love going around, of course, because it's self-love month, right? So that's what's going on here. It's my, it was my husband's birthday, but we're celebrating it this coming weekend, as well as Valentine's Day, which will basically just look like eating and cooking lots of delicious food and drinking lots of alcohol. Because that's all we can do to really celebrate right now in lockdown. But I am actually really looking forward to it. It's going to be lovely and total offshoot. But do you know what we're really into as a family right now? We're all loving watching, maybe you've already seen it, maybe you watched the whole thing already, but on Channel 5, the program called Our Yorkshire Farm, we're absolutely obsessed with it. It's this woman, if you haven't seen it, well, it's actually a husband and wife. They own a massive farm in the Yorkshire Dales and they have 9 children, which seems insane, but actually it really works when you watch it. So don't go being surprised if I come on the show and tell you I've bought a farm anytime soon. I think it looks delightful in a very kind of like, I'm saying that with fully owned naivety. I don't think it actually looks delightful. I know it's a lot of hard work, but there's a lot about it that just really appeals to me. Just that being so connected with nature and being out on the moors all the time. Probably, I mean, if my husband heard this, he'd probably be laughing uproariously because he knows that probably within like a day of owning a farm, I'd be complaining and saying, but it's cold and windy outside and I just want to stay inside by the fire and drink tea. I don't want to go out and herd sheep. And he'd be out there doing it on his own. Anyway, that's what's been going on over here. We're very much into that. We're into anything right now that's about kind of, I don't know, living a slightly different life. I guess this kind of lockdown and just life in general, we've been considering kind of more how we're living our lives a bit more intentionally. We're intentional in really some areas, which I will talk about in the show at some point. But yeah, it's just kind of giving us a bit of pause for thought. Like, what do we want to be shaping our lives like? What do we want to be doing? What kind of experience do we want to be creating for our daughter? Yeah, so we've been watching that. We've been watching, like I said before, Eamon and Beck on YouTube. They travelled the world in a converted Sprinter van for 3 years, and now they're restoring a log cabin in the woods in Canada. It's like my dream. Yeah, so all of these kind of different, I don't know if it's just escapism that we're craving right now, or if we're genuinely considering a different way of life. Watch the space. I'll keep you informed. So let's get into falling in love with yourself with my pal, Denise Baka. So you're going to really particularly love this episode if you've ever felt like you've lost a sense of yourself or your identity. I know I definitely did early on in motherhood. If you ever felt like, is this it? Or I know I'm supposed to be doing more, but I've got no idea what. Again, I totally identify with that one. In the past, when I was in the corporate space, that's how I was pretty much always feeling. If either of those ring true for you or have rung true for you, then you're going to love today's episode. And if you're not feeling totally in love with yourself yet, then you're going to totally love today's episode. Denise is super generous in sharing her, like, she's really real with us about sharing her story, her journey with postnatal depression, and also her spiritual awakening. I love hearing a spiritual awakening story, don't you? I know, right? So good. And she's got the best exercise. You're going to love this to help you reconnect with yourself. And I know so many of you are going to be doing this and telling us about it. So let me tell you a little bit about Denise, but then let's get her in here so that she can tell you a bit more herself. But she started her spiritual journey more than 15 years ago now, so way more than me. And during that time, she's supported lots of women in lots of different ways through their spiritual practice. I won't go into all of the details of her story because she's going to share them with you. But in a nutshell, through her own challenges, suffering, and difficulties, she learned to kind of like heal herself, and then she brought her experience to supporting other women, and that also supported her. Does that make sense? And then she kind of emerged from this cocoon so much stronger and braver, and finally, and this is the bit I love the most, her true self. And so since then, she's realized like what her real passion is, and that's bringing women together to help them liberate their inner goddess. And so these days, Denise is a feminine energy coach, but she's also a qualified international spiritual coach, an intuitive card reader. I've had a card reading by her before, an angelic Reiki and Tantra practitioner too. Woo. So let's get Denise onto the show. Welcome to the show, Denise.
Thank you for having me, Corey.
I'm excited to have you here. So the listeners won't know this, but we've kind of like become Instagram friends. I love like Instagram friends. I don't know about you. Like, it's such a great way to connect with women. And one of the things that we share is a love of like Netflix series and recommending backwards and forwards and reading the same books as well, like The Power of Now, and how we like get something different from it every time, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love this. And I just like to share that little bit because I don't know about you, but I feel like Instagram can be one of those places that people feel can be kind of toxic, or there's lots of comparisonitis and stuff. But actually my experience is so often like I just meet the like most amazing women like you and like have made so many really genuine connections with people. I think if you have that kind of perspective on it and go to it with that intention, it can be a completely different experience. Do you agree?
No, absolutely. Especially with my business page. So I have two. I have my personal page because that's where I first started. And I did have those elements of people that I started following just because other people followed or it was suggested to me. I would look at them and like, oh, they're having fun or et cetera, et cetera. But I quickly learned, stop following them. Like, it's not serving me. Why am I actively going to punish myself by scrolling through and feeling that way?
Oh my goodness, that's such a good way of describing it. Why am I going to punish myself? Exactly.
Literally going in to punish myself. So I quickly stopped that. But with my business page, of course, it's set up with positivity. So I get in that. I follow likes of you, I follow other people, and people follow me, etc. So it's been so nice. I can't remember how long we've been talking now. I think it's nearly a year.
I think so, yeah. I think it's been a good while. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I agree. It can be such a positive space if that's what you're going for. As soon as somebody's account makes me feel less than, or like, oh, I should be doing this or that, first of all, I'll check myself and be like, well, hang on, is there something here that I need to look at internally? And then I'll just decide, do I want to keep following this person? Yes or no? Most of the time, no.
Most of the time, no, exactly. Click off and then definitely do the healing that I need to do to sort that out. But absolutely.
Love that. Oh, so I'm so excited to have you on the show today because we've been chatting about this for a little while, getting you on, and it's so great to actually have you here. So I would love the listeners to get to know you, Denise, a little bit. And I think I would love us to start with, so often I start with like, how did you get into your business? But actually I would love us to start, because I believe it goes a bit back further than that, with your like spiritual journey, because it's very much part like your business. And so I'd love us to start with like, you know, how you got into your spirituality. I know you kind of experienced a spiritual awakening at some point, so just give us the lowdown on that.
So if we go way back, so you'll probably see on my picture when people see the podcast, I look quite young and I'm smiling now, but
you do now as well.
But like when I was about 20, I was introduced to Buddhism. And that was a beautiful experience. It was literally like I found something that I didn't know I was looking for. It was like that. First just clicked.
Yeah.
So I got into that and it was just snowballed in the sense of really engulf myself in Buddha's practices. There's a lot of things that I believed anyway about reincarnation, law of attraction. Might have used different terminologies, but pretty much the same thing. So I still class myself as a Buddhist, even though I'm not actively practicing now, but the principles are still there and the belief system is still there. So started then. It's a very community orientated. So we would have in our area local members that would come to your home, or you would go to theirs, and we would have meetings and so forth. And so through that, I've started supporting women, and I became a young women's leader.
Oh, wow.
And I would support women through whatever issues or joys, wins, whatever that they were going through, that they needed supported from me. So I always had that and always went through that.
Was that still in your 20s?
That was still in my 20s.
Wow.
So I was still doing my crazy 20s, as many probably know what you do crazy stuff. But I feel by having the practice, I was still able to be grounded. And I possibly could have done even more crazier stuff if I hadn't had the Buddhism practice to keep me in track. So that was
interesting.
It was amazing.
I feel like I really wish I'd found Buddhism in my 20s. I'm kind of really reflecting on how different my 20s might have been had I been into Buddhism. Yeah.
Absolutely. So there was lots of things now looking back, like when I was much younger, before I even met Buddhism, there was depression. There was times where I wanted to just stay in my room and not be disturbed, or disappear, not disappear as in from the house, but disappear from friends and what have you, and not
retreat.
Not, and being of a younger age and not having or knowing any different, I wasn't really aware, like, oh, actually maybe you needed support with this type of thing and so forth. But
did you realize that you had depression at that age, or do you just realize kind of looking back?
Looking back, it was always the hindsight of looking back, and it was no discredit to my mum, but it was like, come on, it's fine, you'll be okay, come on, up you get,
chin up,
chin up, and just like, oh, okay, I feel better, and just to go on. So through my 20s, as I said, crazy times, fun times, but kept grounded. But then when I had my first child and I was 28, then that's when I got postnatal. And that was tough. And it was tough in the sense that I still had that attitude of, oh, come on, chin up, it's so fine, you'll be okay. Okay, I'm having a down day. We
just kind of want to like clear it away tidily somehow, don't we? And like not just be like, actually, do you know what? I need some help with this. I'm not feeling great.
Exactly. I did eventually go to the doctors and I was diagnosed with postnatal. But for me, they offered tablets, and they offered tablets. There was no, let's put in some counselling or let's any type of
no further support.
No other further support. And I was never a tablet person. I never have been. So I didn't take them. And I lied and said that I did, because I was like,
totally taking those.
So I went further and further in helping the other women.
Do you think you kind of just threw yourself into that as a way of sort of not dealing, as a way of dealing, but not dealing at the same time?
Exactly. I really felt the love and the, you know, when you're coaching someone and you feel when they're having their wins, you just feel so great.
So they're almost as good, if not better, than your own wins, right?
So I was always striving for that. It was like kind of addictive, like getting them to have their wins, and I would feel that as well. I was like, don't worry about me, I'm good because I'm getting these, you know, I'm helping others, and that's okay. So I really went through that, and I was just consistently helping everyone else. But I would literally finish a meeting, I would go home and just be silent or down, or just however I was. It's actually, I could feel myself actually getting tense thinking about it, because it was, you go back to that emotion. So going through that, so from 28 to I don't even know, it just blurs into one, really. Just continued going with that. Had my daughter. Then I came out of it slowly, but not too much. I was one of the first people in my friend group to have a child, so felt a bit lonely in that sense as well.
Yeah, that can be tough.
But found mummy groups and was making new friendships in those circles.
But did you find that anybody in those circles was talking about postnatal depression?
No, because and to be honest, I was really good at hiding it. I knew, right, I'm going to go out from this time to this time. We're going to have a baby mummy meeting or what have you, and I'm going to be this person. I'm going to smile. I'm going to smile for this amount of time, and I can do that. And once I leave,
come home.
Home. And exhausted from all the fakeness that I was.
It's terrible how good we are at doing that as mothers, you know, and women in general, just putting that smile of veneer on things.
Right.
You know,
this was it. It was just like, it was really a sad time thinking about it. But So just going through that, just not really talking about it. So I never gave anyone the opportunity to say, me too, or this is how I'm feeling, because I just put on that brave face.
Yeah. And that's the thing that we kind of miss. But I guess sometimes when we're in it, we're not able to even see that kind of opportunity there, because we're just about kind of treading water almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
But actually, the more that we share, even if it feels vulnerable to share that, the more kind of permission we give to others to like feel like they're not alone in whatever they're going through, and to actually like talk up them, speak up themselves if they need to, or get the help that they need to, etc.
Exactly.
The more we kind of like brush things under the rug, the kind of we do ourselves a disservice, obviously, but then we also do our friends and wider community a disservice in that way, because we're not giving that, we're not making it normal, which it actually is,
It actually is normal. So I would definitely encourage any viewers that or listeners that are feeling that, to just talk up, to speak to someone, because you never know that someone next to you is feeling the same,
and they're like, oh my God, thank you for saying.
Exactly. So I try not to live with regrets, but thinking just that small thing of just speaking to people would be really, really important. So fast forwarding on, and have had my second child, and that I wanted a 2-year gap. I had it all planned. Have a baby.
We're good at planning, aren't we? Yes. Yeah.
Next baby by the time my son was 2, so that'll be nice. They will grow up together, and then life is my own. 2 years has come, 2 years has gone, and I still haven't fallen pregnant. And that makes me feel really crappy as well. And it just the spiral, and poor husband, putting him through, making him have tests and so forth, just to see what's going on, making sure I want to go and have tests and so forth. So that was a tough.
And it's weird, isn't it? When I don't know if you know this, but we tried for a second baby. We only have one child, one daughter. Well, only one. She's amazing. The one and only. But we tried for a really long time, from when she was only about 8 months old, for a good, maybe 3 years. And the thing is, it can be really kind of disturbing, those kind of fertility issues at any time are tough to deal with, right? And emotionally hard. But I think there's something like a weird dynamic of well, wait, I got pregnant the first time so easily, or, without all of this, what's going on now? It can feel a bit like a even more confusing puzzle, I think,
Yeah. Absolutely. But I finally got pregnant. I didn't need to have any help. It was the case of, okay, just stop. Stop. And then it literally happened.
Isn't that always the way?
Right. So I was really fortunate in that sense. But that happened. So I had my lovely baby girl, and that it was an amazing experience. The pregnancy, I loved being pregnant. That was the one of the, apart from just having the baby, but just being pregnant is such a beautiful experience for me.
It is,
Even the aches and the pains, I still just embraced it. It's like I'm growing life.
I know, yes. I remember I used to say that to my husband all the time. I used to tease him. I'd be like, "What did you do today?" And he'd tell me, and I go, "Well, I've been growing a human life. So tops whatever you did."
Exactly. That's what I'm doing. So that was beautiful. And then I go back into work. I think I got a new job at that point. No, so I was always still on the journey of I know I have a higher purpose. But I just didn't know what it was. I would try businesses, so I became a childminder. And so you can start to see the pattern. I became a childminder, supporting women while they went out to work. Looking after their kids. But then I soon realized, as much as I liked kids, when they went home, I still had my kids. So it was there was never a downtime.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was like, no, I don't really like that anymore. I want to talk to adults and have some conversation.
Want some adult time. Yeah.
Right. So I decided to train as a beautician. Fell in love with doing that. Started a business doing massage and nails and so forth, again making women feel beautiful,
feel good,
and loved. Exactly. And that was a joy, and I still do massage. but with the spiritual elements now. And it was beautiful. But as you know, starting businesses is beautiful, but it can be really tough. It is tough, especially if that's your main source of income. So there was points where I had to dip in and out and go to work full time, etc. And then the business would not, because you're not putting so much energy in it, wouldn't flourish, and etc. etc. So at this point, one of the times I had gone back to work, I was temping, and it was a great job. Again, supporting not just women, but in a housing company. So just supporting people's homes and helping them with their needs. So it's always been supporting. I'm always helping. So I knew that was my nature. I knew that was the line that I wanted to be down, supporting people. But what? Doing what? What am I truly love? What is my passion? But it got to the 2-year mark in this job. So they made me permanent, loving it, really close to home. It was all ticking the right boxes. Like, certain money was coming in, we could do certain things. You know, it's good. On the outside, it's great, but I wasn't happy. As much as it's ticking boxes and we can plan more, we could go on holidays and do much more because there's a regular income, I wasn't happy with that.
And why was that? Was that because you weren't fulfilling your purpose?
I wasn't fulfilling my purpose. But yet, it was the frustrating thing is, but what is your purpose? What is it? I know it's helping, but what is it? So that would be frustrating.
I totally get that. I felt so kind of like purpose frustrated for like all of my like 20s and basically half of my 30s. And I just couldn't, I don't know. I think I was probably blocking myself on like realizing, but I felt very much like a victim of circumstance back then as well. Like I had a very kind of closed mindset, if you see. But I totally feel you. It's just, it's really tough because you just feel like, I don't know if you resonate with this, but I used to feel like I should be really grateful for this job that quote unquote pays well and has this, that, and the other attached with it. And there were aspects of it that were good, but it just didn't like align with my soul. Not that I had that terminology there. And it just felt off. And I just felt like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just accept this? And then a part of me was screaming like, don't just accept this. That's like just dying inside, you know, there's got to be more to life than this. And then I would just be in this constant push pull of like, there's got to be more to life than this, but what? And I couldn't see what. So I totally resonate with what you're saying there. Just that kind of just miserable, but on the outside, everything looks great.
Yeah. And as you said, thinking, I'm thankful. I should be thankful, shouldn't I? I should be grateful. Write the grateful list. You're just writing those really shallow based grateful lists.
Yeah. Surface level gratitude.
Surface level gratitude. And it did feel like I was becoming slowly dead inside, just kind of numb.
Yeah. Yes. Like that apathy sets in, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when I feel like that's when my spiritual awakening started happening, because I was feeling really glum and I was just not really talking to people, started alienate myself from my friends because it was like, I'm sick of hearing myself moan. So I'm sure no one else wants to hear me moan. So what's the best thing? Just keep myself to myself and we'll be good. But it just got to a point, I think my friends, the 2 friends actually, one at work and one just from personal, were saying to me, go and visit. There's this lady that helps with chakras, help you unblock your chakras. And at that point, I've heard of chakras. I was like, okay. She can help you. And again, 2 different people, 2 different circumstances, work and friendship. And then my friend at work, she was like, you literally coming in every day and you can just see like life is just draining from you.
Yeah.
Right, lunchtime, call this person, make the appointment.
Do it today.
It today. So I called and I made the appointment. And then I made that appointment for, I don't know, it was like on a Saturday after the conversation. And I went to see her and she done a chakra realignment and she said which ones were blocked. And she said there was definitely a lot of my throat chakra.
Which is not surprising if you weren't speaking your truth. Yeah. Yep.
And she told me some few things, and oh my goodness, I just cried and I cried and I cried. She's probably, I know her now, but I'm probably thinking they're like, okay, it's time for you to go now. Appointment's over. She probably wasn't.
I think that must be really typical though for first time anybody's experiencing something like that. That is that release that comes with it. Yeah. Yeah.
And then so we were just talking throughout the tears, and she told me about her friend, and that friend, her story sounded really familiar. So I was like, is your friend X?
Yeah.
I just said it. She's like, yes, it was the same. So the person that was telling me to go, the friendship, that side was the same person that was telling me to go to her. So two people were guiding me to this wonderful woman.
Wow.
And even before I really got into spirituality and knowing terminology, I was very aware of synchronicities. So I was like, well, this is definitely meant to be. I was meant to see this woman.
Yeah.
And that's when literally poop hit the fan, because
we can swear, it's fine.
People are going to probably laugh at the poop. I just felt like,
poop hit the fan. I think it sounds even better. Yeah. Poop hit the fan.
I went back to work, and as things started just crumbling, things were going wrong. At home, things were not the best either. Like, just things were just like, oh my God, like, what is going on? Lots of tears, lots of fights. With work, I was just not coping very well. And it just, can you imagine? Like, I went in and asked for help, but wasn't being supported. And you know, when you are asking for help and you're seeing that you're just not getting that support, it's even more frustrating.
Yeah.
And
because to actually get to the point of asking, you know, it takes a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You have to be at a certain point, and then also to actually like be vulnerable enough to say, I need support here, and then to not get it. It's just like, yeah, I get that.
And it got to a point that I went into the director of my department. She said one thing to me. I don't remember what it was now, but all I know is I started crying in front of a director. And I did not stop. I was just crying and crying and crying. And I just went outside and I called my husband, and he's like, you need to call the doctors. You just need to call the doctors. So I did, and I was able to get an appointment straight for that evening. They make you fill out a form, and they said, yeah, you've got your anxiety and depression and blah blah blah, all the things that when you fill out the form, it comes out. Here's some tablets, and we're signing you off. And of course, I didn't take the tablets. And I was like, this is not the answer. So, but I went back to the lady with my spiritual who helped me with chakras, and she started helping me. So that's how I started with the spirituality. She introduced
and so you're actually engaging in something for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, to get some support.
That was the key that I did differently that I didn't do before.
Yes.
So as much as I was in touch with my Buddhist friends, from going down this spiritual road of the chakras being realigned, I really felt like that was the journey that I wanted to go on and to be helped and supported with. So she really introduced me to meditation. She introduced me to past lives. Let's go back and do past life regression.
Yeah.
And it was just absolutely an amazing experience, which I'm still going through, but scary at the same time, because things come up, and I went to starting to go into, and to let people know, as much as I've done the spirituality, I actually chose to go to therapy as well.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Privately, I paid.
Yeah.
Because they did have, I think it's called talking therapy with the NHS.
Yeah.
But they give you 6 sessions, and it's on the phone.
It's not really enough, and you can end up just finding like you've just cracked open like a can of worms, and then you're sent off on your way. Yeah.
So I just chose to do it privately. So while I was doing that, I was doing spiritual work at the same time, just tying those both together. So much changed. We could be here all day, but so much with family values changed, questioning things. People like, Denise, I don't know you. Who are you? Like, I just want the old Denise back. And
was that tough to hear?
It was.
Yeah.
It's funny, you hear it a lot, but I started to know that it wasn't me.
Yeah.
As in,
you're like, that wasn't a real
that
person.
wasn't the real person. oh, okay, I'm saying certain things now and I'm challenging now because my throat chakra was blocked. I wasn't speaking up. I wasn't speaking my truth.
Yeah.
And now I am speaking my truth. You're like, oh.
Yeah. And if that's going to inconvenience you or make you uncomfortable, too bad.
Yeah. Too bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
Soz.
Yeah.
Soz, not soz. So I was like, so just going through that. When going through that and seeing how the spirituality was just absolutely, the energies and engulfing my soul, just reigniting me, it just felt so amazing.
So did it make you feel like, because that felt so amazing and so right and so true, did it make you feel like for anybody who was kind of, disrupted by the fact that you were now kind of challenging things, saying things, showing up differently, did it make it kind of just seem like so worthwhile and
exactly,
this
so
is what
worthwhile.
I need to be doing? Yeah.
People in my inner circle, I would have more in-depth conversations and try to do the best to explain to them, this is what I'm going through.
Yeah.
I'm not going back to the old Denise because she's not there anymore. She's not there.
I think as well, like whether it's like pure spirituality or just any kind of like personal development and personal growth and that inner work, I think when we really embark on it in a big way, it can feel really unsettling for some people around us. And you'll notice like some people will acclimatize and some people will fall away. And I think for some people, the reason that it's unsettling though, for some it's just because it's unfamiliar and people don't like change. But I think for some people it's because it's triggering for them because they feel unsafe about the fact that, oh, you are improving yourself, your life by doing this work. And it makes them feel like they want to kind of, I don't know, drag you back a little bit sometimes to, well, yeah, but let's all hang out down here where we complain all the time. And, Yeah. I totally know how that is. Yeah.
But through having the experience and going through the experience, that's when it clicked. It was like, this is my purpose.
You're like, this.
Yeah. This is my purpose. This is helping women, or even niching it down to be mothers that even might not even have or had postnatal, but becoming a mum and becoming a wife sometimes, or just being in a long-term relationship, you do lose elements of yourself. You become so focused on that person, fulfilling their needs and making them happy to become a union, or or so focused on our children that we forget ourselves. Yeah, that we lose part of our identity. I started to find out and work out, who is Denise? What does Denise like? I remember things that I liked in my 20s, but now I'm in my 40s. So what is she like now? It was just like a whole new, it was an awakening. It's a whole new awakening of life.
Kind of like rediscover yourself. Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah. I so get that. I find a lot of the women who I work with, I'll ask them, what do you like? What do you like to do when you get some time for yourself? And sometimes I'm just met with a blank stare. Like, I don't understand the question. Time for myself and like me time. No. And that's one of the things that I encourage so many of my clients, if they are in that situation, to do, is to start asking yourself, what do you like now? Like, it's good to start with, what did I like before I became a mum, because sometimes there's like those passions that you can like rekindle. Like one of my clients is getting back into singing that she used to really enjoy. And sometimes you're like, actually none of that resonates now, but I'm going to find new things, because otherwise it's so easy to be like, oh, what do you love doing? Oh, I love hanging out with my kid. Yeah, of course. And what do you like doing for you? And we don't give ourselves enough permission to pursue things just for us that don't have a purpose or an outcome necessarily always, It's not ticking something off a list or being productive, but just doing something just for us because it feels good. So, and not having guilt with that.
Exactly. Don't have guilt with that. Yeah. It's like one of the things I picked up during the first lockdown was going for walks. I would wake up earlier than everyone, which wasn't always easy. I mean, in summer it was nice because the sun,
it was easier in summer, wasn't it?
And I would go for a walk. It started at half an hour, then it got up to an hour and 45, and I would just walk around the local area or find the parks and walk around there, maybe sit there, maybe do a bit of meditation sometimes. That time was for me. It even got to a point I was doing it 3 times a day.
Oh, wow.
But maybe not as long, but the first one was definitely longer. But doing that for me, especially because the lockdown, you couldn't do much
That's what we could do. Yeah, exactly.
It was great because I would come back feeling that energy and just feeling like, oh, right, okay, it's all right. Let me just go make you a lovely breakfast, or let me go and do something, because I've just had that time for me. Spotify's on, singing my heart out, or listening to an audible, or whatever. I was doing something for me. Full stop. Don't feel guilty, and then I'm just giving my whole to everybody else. And that's what I loved, and I actually still continue to do that. I don't do it 3 times anymore because it's getting a bit cold, but definitely every morning I'm out there doing my walk.
Love it. That's so good. It's one of the lockdown gifts, right? Yeah. Like I feel the same. So I got up an hour before everybody from the beginning of lockdown. So I was like, I'm going to need some time for myself. This is going to be the thing that I feel the most. It's like squeezing that sort of free time that I'm so used to having prior to that. And I get up every morning and I do some yoga. And sometimes it's like only 15 minutes. Sometimes it's like 45 minutes. Depends kind of, what time I actually get up and all of that. But I've still kept it, even when we came out of lockdown, back in, out, wherever, I've got that now, that time for me, that is like a no matter what, I get to have this kind of time. Totally guilt-free, just feels so good.
It feels so good. It feels really good. And I've noticed there's some weeks I've fallen out of it, not often, but I've really noticed quite quickly by day 2 or 3, you haven't been for a walk, and this is why you're a bit ratty, or you haven't get back on it. Do you know what? Is it lunchtime? Go now. Get back on it.
Get out there.
Get out there and just quickly get back into that mindset and really raising my vibration. Like, it's so important for me just to have a high vibration, because you just need to feel good.
Yes, that's what life's for.
Exactly.
Yes. Do you feel like, having been through various bouts of depression, postnatal depression, do you feel like now that you kind of have your like spiritual tools and gifts, and you have your inner work, but also just finding what feels good to you, does it feel just kind of like an entirely different experience now that you kind of understand and know what you can do for you to feel good?
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. And it's from having that experience and learning about myself again, falling in love with myself again. And I say again, but actually, I ask the question, do you really love yourself? Do you consciously think, I love myself? Like, we stop and think that. We do so many things unconsciously. We shower every day, we cook, we do this, we do that, and we do them unconsciously.
Yeah, if you stop just go through the motions.
Just go through the motions. But actually, I fell in love with myself, and it wasn't again. I fell in love with myself
for the first time. Really. Yeah, and in that conscious way, because I feel like when we're born, at least, we have just a kind of unconditional self-love until it gets programmed out of us, basically. Yeah. But it's that kind of falling in love with yourself consciously, and it's a choice, and I'm like working on this relationship with myself, and I'm nurturing this self-love, isn't it? It's a different thing, isn't it?
Like, exactly. Like when I talk to clients and a lot of self-love and doubt comes up and so forth, and I give them a task, and I give this to your listeners.
Oh, I love this.
When you go and have a shower, because this might be the time where you're by yourself, especially if you have kids, shower consciously. Get that sponge, get the soap, literally watch the soap go into the sponge, get it, rub it on your hands, on your arms, slowly. How does that feel? How does the sponge feel in your hand? How does the sponge feel on your skin? Slowly massaging yourself, doing your shoulders, your breasts, your everywhere, like really every part of your body you are consciously touching and feeling. How does that feel? How does that feel?
And that's so simple, and yet such a missed opportunity for us all the time, isn't it? And it can feel actually quite challenging if you're not used to being really conscious, and also giving yourself that time. Yeah. And that pleasure of like, I'm just doing this. I'm not just getting it done, lather up, in and out, get it done. It's kind of like actually enjoying the process, enjoying taking care of yourself, enjoying tending to yourself.
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
And it's so simple and so accessible. So it's an amazing tip. I love that.
That is. And it's so nice to then come back for another session and hear like, oh my God, that was so surreal. And I didn't even know that the shower just smelled so nice, or this, or, because you're just so programmed to do and do it really quickly.
Yeah. And your brain's on like, what am I going to make for dinner? Oh, I mustn't forget the kids' PE kits.
Absolutely. So that is one of the tools I love to give my clients, like just consciously have a shower.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about your clients a little bit, but tell us about kind of, so you were on your own spiritual awakening, and then you realized that this is my purpose, this is my passion, I want to help other women in this way. Tell us about how you actually got started in your business as it is now.
So how it was now, I was like, what can I do? And you start thinking about, well, I like to support women because I've been doing that for like forever.
Yeah.
Forever. And what capacity can you help them with? And not even knowing that it was going to be online at first. I thought I'm still in the mindset of, yes, I will see everybody, and it would be like a circle of me and so forth. But then it was like, actually, think business wise. If you want to be accessible to the world and to so many other women, not just in your local vicinity, what can you do? And that's where coaching came in. So that's when I decided to take a course. And it was just like amazing. I think I started with I can't remember which one course I've done so many different mini courses and so forth, but just doing a coaching course, and it was just like, yes, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give my tips and tricks that I've learned through my journey and help women through theirs.
Yeah.
And just bundle it up in a nice little package.
I love it. And then it takes like the times that have felt like a struggle for you and turns it into a gift for somebody else, basically, doesn't it?
Exactly. So, because I've had businesses before, I did know the struggles. So it's not always the easiest, as in advertising, talking about it, being consistent online. But when I do have a client, when they find me and I find them and we just connect, it's such a beautiful experience, and it just reminds me of why I'm doing it. Because it can be frustrating. You might, before you have a team, you're doing everything by yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm learning now.
And we've all been there. Like everybody starts there and is there for a while. Yeah.
So I'm doing everything by myself, and it's been like, oh my goodness. Oh, I forgot to post today. Yeah. Oh, but I've got my client and I've got this doing. Oh, but I forgot to say this, or it's just like, but I enjoy it. I absolutely enjoy it. Like last night, I had a card reading with a client, and she was in Canada, and it's again, when you're fully present, and it's like, wow, someone else in another part of the world, it's 2:00 in the afternoon for them, and it's 7:00 here, and it's pouring with rain and it's cold, but yet you're still able to support someone at that moment. It's just like, it's amazing. So amazing.
So good. And then it reminds you of like why you're doing everything else in business, like the marketing, or like, I know, like one of the things I help a lot of my clients with is feeling good about selling. And I'm like, but that's why you do it, to get to that point of being with that person, connecting with them, serving them, helping them get the outcome or the product or whatever it is that you create and facilitate for them. That's why.
That's why. And it's literally, so straight after that, then I had my Sunday evening meditations. And supporting the women there, and we're going through the guided meditations, and then we're talking about what they saw and their visions, and just deciphering those and talking about them. I came off, I think it was just after 9, and oh my goodness, I was on cloud 9 or higher. I was just feeling like, this is exactly why I do what I do. This is exactly it.
Oh, such a good feeling, isn't it? When you just know that you're like, finally, after all of those years of wondering, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? You're like, yes, jackpot. Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
It really is the classic case of, if I'm just helping one person, I just feel so amazing.
Yeah.
But that day I helped 3. Woo-hoo!
It's so good. I love it. And what the listeners won't know is that you did a card reading for me recently, didn't you?
Yes.
And it was such an incredible experience. Oh my goodness, you ladies need to speak to Denise, because you've got some like amazing intuitive gifts. I just found it so powerful. So much of it resonated with me. I was like making like notes when you were like speaking to me, and then afterwards I was like just going through them, and it was just so much in it that was so insightful, and really also helped me to, it was kind of interesting because it really helped me to kind of like order things in my mind a little bit. Does that make sense? You know how when you are kind of, there's things sort of swirling a little bit in like things that you might be calling in or creating, or sometimes even something that you're sort of reaching for or seeking that you haven't actually fully sort of been able to put words to yet. You know, there's just a sensation, you know, in that very beginning phases of certain things. And so I feel like you picked up on a couple of those things in our session, and it was really helpful for me, because I was like, oh my goodness, yes, it would have taken me a really good while to arrive at, yes, that's actually described really perfectly for me, the thing there that I'm looking to call in, which means that I can do it now so much quicker because I have the specificity, you know. And it was just so cool, and I just felt so connected to you in it. And that was the first time we've met on Zoom, right? It's like, even though we've like chatted back and forwards on voice notes and stuff in Instagram, it's not like we've actually had that kind of face to faces as you can get these days. And so I definitely urge anybody who who's listening who feels called to do that to book a card reading with you, because that was just a really special experience.
It was beautiful. It was. I love connecting with ladies, and just doing that first part in the beginning. Having that little connection meditation just enhances it even more. It's a beautiful experience. I'm really gifted. Wow. I'm thankful. But yes, I am gifted.
You are gifted. Own that, my love. Own
that.
It.
I love it. Spirit just said, you're gifted. And I'm like, oh, yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, and you definitely are.
So it is. I love it. I love supporting women in that way as well.
What's your like vision? Like, what's your big plan, big vision? What's next for you in your business? Like, if you could wave a magic wand and, you know, do anything, what are you here to do on a big scale?
On a big scale, I want to be serving women on a big scale. I want to be having seminars or face-to-face ones. I can't wait to the point where we can actually be together again in rooms, sitting next to each other. And just supporting women.
Maybe even hugging.
Shock horror. I really, for me, I've got such a passion for wanting to help women in the corporate world who, especially mums, just who's going through similar situations that I did.
And me.
And you did as well.
Like, where were you, Denise?
Where was I? Just able to go into organisations and giving talks and giving tools and tips and tricks to especially women of how to manage with stress, in work, home life balance, and giving and helping them with that. That's what I would absolutely love to do. If we have to scale it back not scale it back, but if we have to bring it online again. Same thing with organisations, but I really want to start doing group coaching. I feel like that is my calling. I love the one-to-ones. It's very intimate and it's beautiful. But I feel when us women get together,
it's
something
phenomenal.
It's phenomenal.
It really is
so special.
I've had my eyes opened up to that since being, so I'm in, I always kind of clung or gravitated to more of the intimate one-on-one, smaller kind of situations, which is partly because of my school experience, which we won't go into, burnt by groups. So I'm in a mastermind, and I've been in there for, oh my goodness, must be coming up for 2 years now. It's definitely more than 18 months. And I was just like, I really was craving that kind of feeling of having peers and having like that kinship of women who, and like a sense of sisterhood, you know, that comes from women who get it, who are in it together, striving and having that, embracing that inner work and that growth mindset and everything. And like, you know, striving, but at the same time not struggling, you know, that kind of beautiful mix. And I was just kind of hoping for like friends that get it, but I got so much more than that. And that energy of the collective of when women come together is phenomenal, and it can really like propel you forward, and also at the same time nurture you and hold you in a way that is a different experience for us, right? If we allow ourselves to like lean into the feminine energy of being supported by a group. And I'm obsessed with it now I'm a complete convert, and I'm like, yes, I love the collective energy. It's like everything, when we come together. And now obviously I, have my mind. So I just like, I'm excited for you to be doing that more as well, and experiencing like, it's great to be in it. But it's also incredible to create that container for other women and bring women together like that. It's just so magical, and seeing them supporting each other and just like,
exactly.
They're doing it. Look at them. Yeah,
absolutely. That for me, it's just, that would be pure joy. That would be absolute pure joy.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm excited for the people who get to join whatever you create next. This is
Thank
exciting.
you. Thank you.
So Denise, talking about groups and talking about what you're doing next, let's tell the people so that they can get involved. What you got going on?
So I'm so excited to be talking about it. So thanks, Corey, for bringing it up. So I'm going to be launching a group.
This is hot off the press as we're recording this.
This is. So you're going to be the first ones to know. A group coaching program called Awakening Your Feminine. I'm just so excited to even talk about it. Like, Corey can see my face right now, like, I'm so excited. But
she's lit up from within. I love it.
Literally, through that, we are going to be diving deep into your divine feminine. And what I mean by that is just really starting to understand your feminine essence. So with the feminine side of yourself, it's about being playful and excited and feeling free and being unapologetically you. And that is so important. That is in my bio, being unapologetically you. So really starting understanding and connecting with your inner body. So, for example, as we talked about earlier, when you feel like you can't speak up, where do you feel that tension in your body?
Yeah.
So for me, my telltale signs is when I'm not speaking my truth, I feel a sharp pain in my arm, very distinctive.
Interesting.
Very distinctive. And that's because I've developed those
because you're in tune with it.
Very in tune with that. So I know I'm not speaking my truth. And it doesn't mean that through that I will just go in and go, wah, 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 wah. No.
Yeah.
I then address that and then start to speak, not just straight from my head and from my ego. I straight talk from my heart space. And that's what I like teaching women. And I want to teach women as a collective how to talk from your heart space and to be confident when you are speaking your truth.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of guided meditation. And we do some breath work as well. And I also help, because I've had trained massage therapist. I help you connect with your body through self-massage. There'll be elements of giving yourself hand massages, massaging your throat chakra and just really diving deep into that. And there's one thing that you might not know as well, that I'm a tantra practitioner.
Oh, I didn't know.
And
this is interesting.
And I don't publicize that yet because I'm still learning through that. But it's not, as soon as people hear tantra, they think, oh, saucy.
Yeah.
But it's about connecting with your feminine side. It's about really understanding the essence of your being.
Yeah.
Knowing that in such a male society that you can be confident in who you are. You can show up. You can be emotional if you want to be. And that's okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what I want to teach. And that's what's going to be in the group. And as I said, I love a collective of women coming together and seeing them learning and helping each other. For me, that just brings so much joy. So I would love for your women to know more about it. They can go to my website.
Yep.
It's www.denisebaka.com/awakening your feminine.
Amazing. We'll pop that in the show notes as well.
Thank you so much. So yes, there will be a wait list. I'm sure, no shadow of a doubt, this is just going to be filled up. It's going to be really intimate setting as well.
Yeah.
Because as I said, I love the one-to-ones, but it, as a group collective, a small intimate collective, is beautiful. Is beautiful.
Yeah. And especially that sort of work, like that awakening and kind of stepping into and embodying more of the like feminine energy. It's so nice doing that as a group, because presumably you get that kind of benefit of the kind of permission that we're all doing this together. And it doesn't feel like, is this silly, me doing this on my own, or actually it's not really important, I won't do it. Or it's very easy for us to kind of just push away the kind of that side of things and to think, oh, I'll do it later after I've got all my jobs done or whatever. There's something about when you come together as a group of women and you're kind of like all there for that purpose, makes you show up for yourself more, actually, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're given permission by the collective to do that. So.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So excited. So
beautiful.
excited.
Oh my goodness. Go head over to Denise's website and find out more, my loves. I think that sounds amazing. And also, just so you know, Denise also does card readings like I've been to, and new moon and full moon group meditations. Is that right?
Yes, it is. We do the new moon and the full moon.
And we're recording this on the new moon, actually. And I'm going to the new moon session tonight. So
yep, she's having a double dose of Denise.
Double Denise day.
Yep, I'm so excited. And it's an eclipse new moon as well.
Yes,
so everything is like supercharged.
Yeah, it's like literally in like 20-25 minutes there's going to be the solar eclipse, isn't there? So I'm going to go watch that online.
Yeah, absolutely.
So all the high vibe energy. I'm excited.
I know.
Thank you so much, Denise. I really want to thank you for just sharing your story so freely and so openly, and just being so real and honest about, you know, the challenges that you've faced and then how you've come through the other side, and like, you know, how that was the kind of start of your spiritual awakening things. I think it's just so beneficial for, you know, everybody who might be listening, anybody who's been through that or can resonate. I'm sure so many will be resonating with various aspects of what you shared. So I just really want to thank you for your generosity and sharing so much today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
And there we have it, my loves. I hope you massively enjoyed hanging out with Denise and I as much as we enjoyed hanging out here together and sharing our conversation with you. If you want to find out more about today's show and Denise, you can do so over on my website at coreyjavid.com/podcast/Denise. And also, just to reiterate, the link to Denise's brand new exclusive, you heard it here first, group program is www.denisebaka.com/awakening your feminine. So go and check out the show notes, check out Denise's website. Also, don't forget to hit her up on Instagram at denisebaka_com. Like I said, all of these links are in the show notes though over on the website, so you can go and check them out over there. Share the love. This is self-love month, isn't it, my love? See what I did there? Share the love, because sharing is caring. And hey, as women, I think we all need to be falling in love with ourselves right now. And I mean, always, but particularly right now, do we not? So if you really enjoyed today's episode, share the love, share this episode, take a screenshot of this, share it on Instagram and tag Denise and I. You can tag me at Corey Javid. And like I said, you can tag Denise at denisebaka_com. And we would love to see you sharing the love so we can share it right back at you. I massively enjoyed today's show, and never forget, my love, you are limitless. Bye for now. So, my love, you know what they say, sharing is caring. If you loved today's episode, then help a mother out. I would be so grateful if you would take a screenshot of this episode in your podcast player right now and post it to your Insta stories, tagging me at Corey Javid, and help me get the word out that we get to be successful because we're mothers, not in spite of it. Let's save as many other mothers in biz as we can from this old paradigm of hustle, effort, and sacrifice. And let's spread the word on energy over effort, shall we? Thanks, love.